Now, have any of you guys and gals out there heard of Area 51? It's a very secretive place out in Nevada desert in America, in the USA. And there's been loads of sightings and rumours about aliens, spaceships landing and experiments on aliens, and you name it. It's been in all the pictures. It's been X-Files, stuff like that. And it's been portrayed in films by people taken away with experiences and everything. Well, the same thing happened to me. Now, as the reason why people don't come up with this, when they've had experience, they think, well, if I say something like that, I saw an alien or whatever, they'll say, I'll be put into a mental asylum. They'll never hear from me again. They'll say the guy is bats. He's out of his skull, or she's out of her skull. It's like the sightings of the Blessed Virgin and Jesus Christ and the crying statues and the moving statues. Which reminds me of a story I heard once. Guy, I think he's wheeling on the Leinster Express. He was talking about Laois playing in a game. I digress now, just for a second. And he was saying, because there was the rumour with the moving statues. And Laois got beaten so badly, he was furious. And he said, Laois, well, I don't know what they were doing out on the pitch there anyway, against whoever it was, Kilkenny or Kildare or somebody. And this reporter said, they were just like statues. And they weren't even moving. Which I thought was quite funny, really. But that's that. I go back to the Area 51 and the sightings of aliens from outer space. Now, you can believe it, take it with a pinch of salt or whatever. But, can I tell you something I don't want to be branded now as a bit of a suitable case for treatment, as they say. But I was walking out. It was around the time that we had the shark in the marsh. There was a shark in the marsh out in Derrycairn, on the borders of Derrycairn, Mountrat, Shanahoe, etc., alongside the River Nore, which of course, it was quite possible that the shark lost his directions, coming off the Atlantic, and ended up, would you believe it, in the marsh. Well now, but there was an awful lot of laughing and cheering and crazy things going on, and nobody believed it, of course. But then, a few months later, I, on my own, happened to go out with my dog Darkie. He was my little dog. We were going out, kind of playing about shooting and stuff like that. So we went out anyway to the marsh, and it got late at night, because my mother was going like, you make sure you come home now. Don't be staying out late. You got to come home and do your homework. Homework to me? You got to be joking. The one thing I was trying to avoid was homework, and I was staying with Darkie. Now listen, you stick with me. We'll see what happens. So me and Darkie was coming back. We done a shortcut from the marsh. We were out in the marsh, you see. We're having a look out for the shark. And I thought, well, I ain't scared of sharks. So anyway, we didn't see any sharks. We didn't see anybody or anything. And we met this beautiful grey-haired lady walking through the shadows. And it was a nice lady called Miss Delaney from the marsh. She lived in the marsh in what used to be a big mansion up in the marsh. You didn't know that now. That's no joke. The Kavanagh family will probably tell you all about it, because I think that was their property, or maybe whatever. Anyway, I digress again. So we was coming along, and Darkie started getting, the dog, he started getting really skittish and started to, do you know the way dogs go, cringing and crying and that. And he went between my legs and I said, what the hell's the matter with you, you stupid dog? Will you stop messing about? You know? So we met this lady and the lady says, Paddy, why are you out so late? You got to go home, your mother is worried. I said, it's okay, Mr. Lady, we're on the way. So she disappeared into the shadows and we did a shortcut through the down by Crinnan's there, and what it was now Dwyer's. Willie Dwyer's, at the back of Willie Dwyer's house. There was an old cemetery there, and some of the idiots decided to dig it up or something. And if I remember rightly, the guy was on the digger when he saw all these bones and skeletons. He jumped off the what do you call it? The land digger. He jumped off the digger anyway and ran away. He was never seen again. So anyway, we was coming back through this, and I thought, I'll go through the cemetery. Now, me not being, I'm not a great religious person. Shh, don't put that around though. Me not being terribly religious, I just said, come on, let's go to the cemetery. We could do a shortcut here, because Mum's going to beat the living daylights out of the two of us. So as I was going through the cemetery, true story, nobody's going to believe it anyway. All of a sudden, I heard this noise. Darkie froze. And he went between my legs again. And it was like a moonbeam. It was a lovely moon. And the moonbeams were shining through the trees. And all of a sudden we saw this big figure. Now he was like Ming the Mac. What was Ming in Flash Gordon? But he was a guy like that. He had all this stuff on him. And he was standing there in front of us in the moonbeam. So, I thought it was one of the lads out trying to frighten me, you know what I mean? Eric Merdy or Jim Crennan or something, because he had a fierce sense of humour. I thought, they're out to frighten Paddy and his little dog now, and scare the living day, and he won't be around here again, I assure you. So I said to this, I said, all right, tell us the joke. Who's the joker? Take the mask off. What? At this stage, Darkie, he was whinging first, and then he went, arr! You know the way dogs do. I said, what's wrong with you? And whatever the hell, this guy, whatever he was, I thought he was one of the local lads, just out to frighten us and that. But anyway, this alien, or whatever the hell he was, and there was something over his head, like a disc, like a spaceship. So I said, oh, yeah, now, what's this? Am I in a dream? I remember showing a film a few nights, because I used to be projections in Abbey Lee Cinema with Billy Peters. Anyway, I digress again. And I remember seeing this, the day the earth stood still, and it came from Mars and all these programs. So I was well up to it. I thought, well, wait a minute, it probably is a guy from outer space or Mars. The moon by this stage was an old hat. Nobody knew anybody lived on the moon. So it was either, one of these further planets, Mars. Well, we always say it's the Martians and Mars. So anyway, to cut a long story short, which I never do, Darkie started barking, like in a nice sort of way, kind of a friendly bark, not a but sort of a. And this old yoke, or whatever he was going. So all of a sudden it came over. Whatever this thing done to me with this bloody strange voice, strange sounds coming from his being. I could see something shooting into my head. And he said, Paddy, only you will know this. Aliens do exist, and we are coming back to save the world. True story. I said, well, how are you going to do that then? Well, he said, you don't know about it right now. We'll have lads like Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn and people like that. And they won't be able to sort the world out, and we have all these wars going on around the place. And we're going to come back, and we're not going to touch you or your dog, but the rest of them, we are definitely going, this is a secret between you and us. But you can't spread the word to the believers. And we are going to come back to this lovely planet, and we're going to kick those people's arses. But and only you will know this, because you are very clever, and we have instilled certain intelligence into your very, very empty brain, which will now be full of extraordinary science and experience. So I said, what do we do now? Do we tell everybody or what? No, he said, you keep this secret, and just remember, we'll be back, and we always like to meet a friendly face. I said, why did you pick the cemetery? We like the cemetery because you're the only one, and your dog here, that can't tell porky pies. So we'll leave all this information with you, and you will pass it on to all your friends on Facebook, and on Messenger, and on WhatsApp, and on Instagram. And I'm going, what? What are you talking about? What's all this? I never learned that at school. Oh, we know that, Paddy, because we know, for one thing, you don't go to school. You should be a good boy now and go to school and learn your sums. And then you'll become a scientist. I said, is that true? Could I become a scientist? You can always hope, Paddy, always hope. So we leave you this message. Just take care, and you didn't see me. You've never experienced any of this, and you won't tell anybody. Is that right? I said, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, like, I didn't see you? Well, who are you? He said, I'm the man who wasn't here. You mean to say I didn't see the man who wasn't here? I said, I remember showing a film about that, and Boris Karloff was in it, or was it the other guy? Can't think of it now, Dracula. So anyway, he came over to me and he said, Paddy, you're going to have a good life, and your doggy will look after you, and everything will be grand. So there you have it. So with that, I put out my hand to shake my hand, his hand, and he just, this piece of dust came out of the air, swished over my hand, and then I woke up. So I woke up and I ran out, and my mother said, get back into bed. You've been up all bloody night. What are you doing up at 4 o'clock in the morning? I said, is Darkie all right? Yeah, Darkie's all right. So I went outside in my shirt, because you didn't have pyjamas in them days. I never knew what pyjamas was. So I ran out into the shed, and there was Darkie, and he gave me the old. And I knew that everything was all right. So that's the end of a beautiful true story. So just believe in Paddy, and believe there are aliens out there, and they're going to come and get us soon. But I'm not worried. You better be.